Hello, and welcome to Appleton Engaged. I'm your host, Timber Smith, DEI Coordinator for the City of Appleton.
And I'm Andy Anam, the Communications Manager for the City of Appleton.
And Appleton Engaged is a podcast that explores the many people, organizations, and resources that make our community a great place to live, work, and play. So whether you're a longtime resident or just getting to know Appleton, join us as we learn more about our community together.
And as always, we will be introducing you to some incredible guests on our podcast. And we also want to thank you for your love as we become the award-winning podcast. Did you tell that to our listeners?
No, Andy, you just going to bust that out, right? Well, Appleton Engaged listeners, we have won an award. And you know what? I don't know if we're going to share about that on this episode, but we will share about that in the future. But thank you so much for those who have been tuning in and telling others about it. And as the audience grows, the impact of the show grows. And we really, really appreciate you out there. All right. But now on to these fantastic guests that we have this week. So this week's guests are Kimyatta Ratliff, President and CEO of ColorBold Business Association, and Ramona Hallmon, Board Chairman of ColorBold Business Association. How are you both doing?
Awesome. So happy to be here on this award-winning podcast.
Award-winning. Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, facts.
We loved it.
Okay, y'all. I'm going to say this right now. Appleton Engaged listeners, we're about to have a fantastic
Conversation.
That's right. This is going to be fun, y'all. Okay, y'all ready to jump in?
We are.
Yes.
Okay. Can you please tell us about yourself and your association with Appleton or the Fox Cities region?
Sure thing. I'll start. So I have been in this area since 2007. I have a small business, Universal Designs, where I was a hairstylist for many years, serving a lot of people in the region. And so a lot of people come to me for their kids. They have curly hair, or kids who they have adopted, or people who have biracial families, as well as just in general African-American people. And so that's how I'm very much associated with the Northeast Wisconsin, Fox Valley region. But then also, as the president and CEO of ColorBold Business Association, we serve Northeast Wisconsin. So we're always in Fox Valley.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, and for me, I'm a business owner in this area. I have a nonprofit and a for-profit business, and so my profit business is Ramonavation, where I am a motivational speaker and whole life coach. And nonprofit, I am a pastor, Faith Works Ministries, and so do a lot of community work. You know, being tied to this area is, I love to tell people the story, but 96-97 football season, the Packers won the Super Bowl, which got me to this area. And so very much connected to this area through the work and different things that I did since I've been in this territory.
You tied it to the Super Bowl season?
That was the shift that moved me to this territory.
Okay. Now that's fantastic. And you know I want to ask more about that story, but I'm going to let that go right now. Okay. Can you please tell us about ColorBold Business Association?
Yeah, so ColorBold started in 2017. It started out of Fit Oshkosh. There was an organization here in Oshkosh where Tracy Robertson, she noticed there was a lot of need for business owners of color to connect with each other, as well as to be in different rooms that was happening. There wasn't a lot of presence of people of color. And so in 2020, we kind of rebranded into ColorBold Business Association, where we recently received our nonprofit status. So we are official.
Official.
Right. So we serve people of color. And when I say people of color, I mean all people of color in business who want to start a business, who haven't even thought of the possibility of entrepreneurship, as well as we are a bridge for businesses and corporations who want to reach more people of color. So we are definitely doing a lot of work in this area. We, even though we just got our nonprofit status recently, we've been working with a lot of other organizations, as them being our fiscal sponsor, New North, African Heritage. Those were a few. We've done a lot of different programs to where we help businesses get hooked up to resources, finances.
That's great. So, can you elaborate on what kind of programs you have for empowering these people of color businesses?
So one thing that we have now is called a community navigator, where we have a lot of one-on-ones where we talk individually on their business, their needs. We do not do things that other groups already do. We hook them up to those other resources, but there are a lot of technical things that people need in regards to feeling comfortable reaching out to other people who can serve them. And so we talk to them about how they can pivot in their business, as well as how to fill out applications, forms, and things like that. And then we give them exposure for their business. So we do a lot of events that we bring out the community to know of these different businesses. And then on the other end, we have done things like we worked with in Green Bay. We've worked with on Broadway to help bring more people of color to their events. And then we have organizations to where we have come in to consult with them on their programming and application so that we can help them have it more easily open for people to. We have had spaces to where we have helped corporations to open up their applications so that people of color can access them and feel comfortable in being a part of their programming, and then also qualify for them.
That's great. So what kind of challenges normally you see in the space? Like, where exactly you feel like your organization had to come up to help these people?
So one of the sad things is when you find that in data that has been pulled that Wisconsin sits in the top 5 of a list that they don't want to really sit in, and it's like not great for businesses of color. So Wisconsin is ranked number 4 on the worst list. And so what we've been finding is the reason being that business owners of color are not able to get to the resource. So yes, we can hear all of these different resources, all of these different things that's happening out there. However, it's like this big gap that's there. And so the challenges that we've been seeing is so much information, or where to really go and get it, because a lot of times like, oh, just go to this site or go to that site, but the site reads like stereo, right? Like
you can't even you can't understand.
You can't understand.
It's like static.
Exactly. And so we found that connection, that personability, and then being able to have the conversation and saying, okay, let's break these down into like small manageable pieces, but then here are those points of contact. And so any way that we can bridge that gap and will narrow it in to be able to help the business owners, that's what we're going for. And I really believe that is, I won't just say our niche, but it is the groove that we found that is really helping businesses.
As well as to solve that, we are working very hard to compile a resource guide for the region for people who live in different counties to where they can access those different areas. So we have been fortunate enough to have some grants given to us so it can start in the area, but we are definitely looking for more people to come along and help us to have our resource guide boosted up with funding so that we can have it right there for people can see clearly and actually understand how to get in contact with with the sources.
That's awesome.
And the resource guide is going to be centered around the resources for businesses who want to start or are established and are looking to grow. Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct. And then also, I'm saying the word business, but there's also for people who are of color who have their own nonprofit as well.
Okay, so ColorBold also works with nonprofits.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, no, that's a good distinction, and I think that's important to know because we right now I do believe our region is in this evolution, right? And we do have these entrepreneurs who are popping up, and I run into them, and they definitely could use some guidance, just someone to sit down with them and really connect the dots and help them understand. And I think there's power in the opportunity to avoid the pitfalls and the mistakes. And sometimes you need the right messenger.
Correct.
Right. So you can really hear what's being said, or that they're saying it in a way that's relatable to you in that context. And so I feel like that's Is that ColorBold's niche? Is that their spot?
That is definitely one of the biggest spots and one of my biggest niches. For example, like some people feel intimidated because they have to, well, they think they have to speak a certain way or act a certain way, walk a certain way. So personally, like as being president and CEO of ColorBold, like I don't use like the big words or try to adjust in different rooms. Even, so I kind of show, for example, you too can do certain things, you know what I mean? And so there's a lot of examples of how we've helped people in business. So I can think of one person, he knows his business and what he wants to do, but because of his not having the education or the support in his family, he doesn't know like, oh, should I open up 2 accounts because I heard that to have a business, I need to have this and that. Should I go here or there? And so I'm like, well, if your business is making X amount of dollars, then yes. But right now, you're just starting off. So he's like online trying to Google things and going to a YouTube and, trying to find all the answers to help himself, but he's getting confused. And so having us as a resource to help him calm down, relax, and say, no, this is how you're going to go. This is what you should do. And this is how you should, start, basically.
That is very powerful because a lot of people don't know and they go to Dr. Google and, they try to Yep. Totally.
Dr. Google.
Dr. Google. I love it. I'll be using that.
That's true. I'm going to have to use that one myself.
The Google, Miss YouTube.
So do you have any signature events coming up and any events you do around the year so that people know about your organization and they can come and participate?
Mm-hmm.
So one of our main things that we do every year, we do Shop BIPOC campaign. And so for our 2023 season, we kick it off on let me see, make sure I got my dates here. We kick it off on the 9th of November. And so looking at that space, we do this because in this area, what we want to do is to get people to expand their palette of shopping, saying like, get out, shop throughout the holiday season, shop all businesses of color. So add that to your shopping list to go out and support. Mm-hmm. And so we are very excited about that.
Yeah, and then we also, every year, we do a pop-up shop to where business owners come out, and then we invite the community. So like I had mentioned earlier about our connection with Broadway, we did our pop-up shop this year because it was twofold, to help them, but bring people of color to their events, but then also it was to give more exposure to the business owners that we had sign up for the pop-up shop. So bring in new customers, added a revenue for their business, and even outside of the event, to have the owners come network. And so one awesome thing that happened was, which of a lot of things, but people were able to start purchasing from other businesses that was there. And so that was awesome to hear and see that they met each other there. And then like 2 weeks later, they were buying, selling things to each other. So that was awesome. But then also we do a lot of events to where we network. So we have a network event coming up in November, which we bring people of color together along with professionals and business owners. So we starting in the Fox Valley region, but everything that we do, we would like to see it expand out into all of Northeast Wisconsin because that's the area that we serve.
Okay. So there's another program that I think I've heard a little bit about. And it's something where you're partnered with the city or one of our departments in the city. Can you tell us a little bit about that program?
Yes, it's the Entrepreneurs of Color Spotlight. And so we are really broadcasting throughout Northeast Wisconsin and beyond, but it is a great partnership with the Appleton Public Library as well as UW Extension, Ada Gaming, and Winnebago County. And so what we do is monthly we feature 2 business owners of color, their businesses. We spotlight them. They talk about their journey, and it's all about learning that person's journey, being able to connect with different businesses.
Yes, and it has been such an amazing journey. We have had a couple other partnerships through this opportunity. We had some people come along to help sponsor this with us, like WCMA, and then even the Fox Valley Community Foundation, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
of Fox Valley. So we're definitely always looking for people to come along and partner in sponsoring these spotlights. We've had over about 40 different businesses that we've already covered so far.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. 40? That's amazing.
Yes.
Where do you find these spotlights?
Thank you. We air live on Facebook and YouTube every first and third Thursday of the month. And then you can definitely follow us on the EOC Spotlight page on Facebook. You can definitely email either ColorBold, or we have an email for it, EOCspotlight@gmail. And you can definitely get connected to these spotlights. For the whole month throughout our Shop BIPOC campaign, we're actually going to be running several spotlights from the past over and over again each week in the months of November and December on our ColorBold page as well as the EOC Spotlight page.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier about working with private sector businesses and connecting them with talent of color.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like, and how does that work? And has there been success in that? Because I mean, as someone who kind of gets an opportunity to work in that space some too and have those conversations, I know that there is interest. So I'm excited to hear this is also one of the initiatives of ColorBold.
Yeah, so one great example is recently we helped the Boys and Girls Club in Appleton to get connected with business owners to support one of their events. They were looking for people to do a movie, so we got a business person that supplied the food for their organization because it was geared towards African American families. So they wanted all the vendors to be, of that culture, or rather of that
Demographic.
Yes, thank you for helping. And so we get a lot of emails asking if we know people that can do T-shirts for their organizations, or there's this group now in Appleton. I'm not sure if I can name names, but there's a group, the Red Shoe organization. They do Christmas events for their staff. So we just sent them a list of business owners to support
Nice.
and to buy from. So there's a lot of need, and I guess with all the climate of against the word, people in the area that has been wronged by the majority. So a lot of people want to support people of color at this time. So I'm very grateful and thankful that we're here and able to connect organizations to people of color as well as to get exposure for those businesses.
I do find this community, there is a will to want to diversify their dollars and support these businesses of colors owners. And I think that's a fantastic thing about this community. Like they actually will put their money where their mouth is.
Yes.
And that's impressive.
Yeah, and then also doing it consistently. So that's the big thing, instead of just, let me do it because now it's a hot time and moment. But when you do it all the time, that's something to be commended on.
Right. When you don't just do it during that month.
During the month, yes.
Yeah, those various months that happen. Can you please share a story that shows the importance, significance of ColorBold?
One of the stories I think that I love is I was working out. Okay, so I was at the gym. I was on treadmill, y'all. and I looked up and I saw a commercial. And this commercial was cousin Bren seasoning. And I almost I had to hit the emergency stop, and I was in awe because of the connection and the walk that her company had working with ColorBold. And so passed it to Kim because she worked and partnered with Kim on some things. And when I saw the end result, to see that her business is out there, I saw the commercial, and then to hear on the lips of people from the community when we've had events for this particular one, and we have other stories that are the same, that similar type, to say, oh, I need to up my seasoning. Oh, I need to get some more. And then to call that business owner's name of someone that wasn't out in front. And so
that's a great example of the importance of ColorBold. I think another example is, especially during like COVID time, when we had the grants, all the people, you get $100, you get $1,000, you get all this money coming out for people to apply for and come. Even all this money being said, unfortunately, people of color were still missing the mark on getting it into our hands. So ColorBold was able to, with the people who we had in contact with, tell them right off the bat, this is trying to come down the line, get your paperwork in order. This is how you fill out the application. This is who you talk to and things like that. So we're definitely a relevant and on-time resource for for business owners of color. And then one last thing about our Shop BIPOC campaign I wanted to mention is the importance of that is really to get exposure out for business owners of color in this region and how important they are and how being able to increase their revenue is very important and key to people of color and their families to be able to be successful and to even start in the factor of a generational wealth.
So you just talked about the signature events which are coming. So where people can find that information, and if you want to tell about the months or the dates they should look forward to so that they can participate and come over.
Yep. So people can definitely follow us on our Facebook and Instagram page at ColorBold Business Association on Facebook, and then we are ColorBold on Instagram. It's better to also email us at colorboldbusinessassociation@gmail.com. If you go to our website, colorbold.org, you can sign up for our newsletter and you can receive new information that way and be on our text messaging system. And then so our key events that's coming up now, that's the 9th of November is our
networking event that is going to be for our business professionals and business owners of color. And then we also are going to kick off the season for the Shop BIPOC campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything the community can do to be part of the organization, or they can help and support it?
There's lots of things. Definitely go to our website and get hooked up with us. You can support us in ways of getting the word out about ColorBold. Starting in 2024, springtime, we'll be opening up space for a membership. So there'll be space for people to join and be a part of ColorBold. As well as when we have events and activities, you can volunteer, especially for our bigger events, the pop-up shops that we have. We always need people on hand. We also need volunteers because we are still trying to get our foundational pieces together and get our funding up. We need volunteers to work on different pieces of ColorBold. We are strategically looking for board members as well. So there's a lot of ways that if you are proficient in different areas like social media, marketing, things like that, definitely reach out to us. If you have time to commit to a volunteer, we would definitely love your support.
All right. Well, it is shout out time. Do you have some shout outs? And Kimyatta, can we start with you?
Sure. I'd like to give a shout out to Tracy Robertson, who started the vision of ColorBold when it first started. And then shout out to Mia Yoon of Extension. She has been a consistent advisor for us in starting, as well as our chairman of the board. She is doing an awesome job, so I'm grateful for her being a part of our board, and definitely our board members, those who've been with us from the beginning and those who have just come on. Thank you so much for being a part of our board. And then my doggy baby, oh, I love you so much, and my husband.
The dog got the shout out first. I just want to point that out. I live in that same household. If my wife was here, my dog would get the shout out first. Okay. All right, Ramona.
So I will give a shout out to my husband, Antoine. I'll give a shout out, of course, to our president and CEO, Kimyatta. Bum, 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 bum. I mean, like, Kim is on fire in this area. And I would also just like to give a shout out to Mom and Dad. Hey, y'all. As well as all of our business owners, our supporters, all the ones that are connected to ColorBold, that has showed love, that has given financially. We just truly love and appreciate each and every one of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you so much. At this time, we're going to start wrapping up this episode. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to the Appleton Engage listeners. Thank you for giving us your minds and your ears, spending this time with us, caring enough to learn about another valuable resource that our community has access to. If you have any interest in being a guest on Appleton Engaged, or if you would like to suggest a guest for Appleton Engaged, please, please, please don't hesitate and reach out to us. You can reach us at diversity@appleton.org. Once again, that is diversity@appleton.org. Also, Appleton Engaged listeners, we want to say, we need your help. One of the great things that's been happening, but we're going to continue to ask for your help with this, is we need you to take time to subscribe to the podcast. Also, if you can take a moment and fill out a review. What this does is this helps raise our analytics so more people can find out about this amazing resource called Appleton Engaged, and more people can be informed of the amazing resources that we have in our region.
We encourage you to connect with the organization and individuals mentioned in today's episode. Our amazing Ramona and Kimyatta. You will love working with them, and, just keep spreading the love and inclusivity and collaboration. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay curious, and stay engaged.